All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time we're taking a look at some material you sent us on finance and spirituality.
Oh, interesting.
It seems like you're really digging into how those two things might be connected.
Yeah,
We've
definitely.
even got some stuff about blood rituals in here.
Wow.
So it's going to be a fascinating dive.
It really does seem like you're exploring some pretty deep ideas.
Yeah, it looks like you found this YouTube video with a financial guru who also seems to be a spiritual leader.
Oh, hey.
And it's this guy, Dr. ODOOM'S Emmanuel, who calls himself the Common Sense Guru.
Common sense guru. I like that.
It looks like he's got this show with a co-host named Precious called Ask the Guru Finance Edition, and it's on Common Sense Television.
Catchy.
So they're basically taking questions from viewers and connecting finance and spirituality.
Interesting combination.
One of the first things they talk about is this verse from Isaiah 45:3. And, it says, I will give you the treasures of darkness and riches stored in secret places, so that you may know that I am the Lord, the God of Israel, who summons you by name.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one.
So Dr. Emmanuel basically says that this verse is telling us that money is hidden, and to get it, you need to go on this journey to uncover secrets.
Interesting take.
He suggests that these secrets can be revealed in a couple of ways, like through some sort of divine revelation in a secret place, or through the guidance of a secret society.
Secret society. That sounds a little mysterious.
Right.
I wonder what he means by that.
I know. It's a fascinating idea that there's this hidden knowledge out there that can lead to wealth. But then he also talks about needing light to access these treasures of darkness. What do you think he means by that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It seems like he's saying that there are dangers involved in blindly chasing after riches, especially if it involves questionable practices or groups.
Right, you got to be careful.
You need to be discerning.
Exactly. And then it gets even more intense because he starts talking about blood as a spiritual asset.
Oh.
He gets into some pretty graphic details about how blood is used in rituals.
Oh, wow.
And he talks about the sacrifice of animals, which is already kind of unsettling. But then he even mentions human sacrifice.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I have to admit, some of the examples he gives are pretty disturbing.
Yeah, that's definitely a sensitive topic.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's important to note that Dr. Emmanuel makes a clear distinction between how blood might be used in secret societies, which he clearly doesn't endorse, and the symbolic use of blood in communion within a spiritual setting.
So he's not saying all blood rituals are good.
No, not at all.
He's drawing a line between what he sees as ethical and unethical.
Exactly.
And this idea of discernment, being careful about what you're getting into, connects back to his interpretation of that Isaiah verse.
It does, doesn't it?
Like, it's not enough to just want wealth.
Right.
You need to think about how you're going to get it.
And the potential consequences.
Exactly.
For yourself and others.
Yeah, for sure.
So it seems like he's saying there's a right way and a wrong way to pursue wealth, even when you're looking at it from a spiritual perspective.
Definitely. And this reminds me of something else he said about work and sacrifice being a form of bloodshedding.
Bloodshedding. What do you mean?
Like he's drawing this analogy, suggesting that even our everyday efforts and sacrifices in the secular world can trigger spiritual responses.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, he's not saying we should take it literally,
Right.
but that our actions, even when we're focused on making money, have a deeper impact than we might realize.
So there's a spiritual dimension to everything we do,
Exactly.
even our work.
It's all connected somehow.
Fascinating.
All right, so we've talked about these blood rituals, which are pretty intense.
Yeah, definitely.
But Dr. Emmanuel also gets into some more practical advice for creating wealth.
Okay, like what?
Well, a viewer asks him about vehicles of wealth creation, and his response is actually pretty down to earth.
Okay, I'm listening.
He compares your financial journey to traveling from Lagos to Abuja.
I like that. A good analogy.
Yeah, it makes it easy to understand.
So where does the vehicle come in?
Okay, so your current financial situation is point A, your desired wealth is point B, and the vehicle you choose determines how quickly you reach your destination.
I see. So some vehicles are faster than others.
Exactly. And he outlines different vehicles.
Like what?
Like he says a salary is like trekking, entrepreneurship is like driving a car, and real estate is like flying.
Okay, that makes sense.
And he even mentions the money market and capital market as something even faster than flying.
Wow, so what's that, a rocket ship?
He doesn't actually say what that faster vehicle is, but the point is clear.
Okay. Yeah. The way you approach your finances has a big impact on how quickly you can build wealth.
Exactly. To illustrate this, he tells this funny story about checking Google Maps for travel times to Abuja.
Okay.
And it says it takes 1 hour by plane, 12 hours by car, and get this, a whopping 154 hours on foot.
154 hours. That's over 6 days of walking.
Can you imagine?
That's brutal.
So his point is that if you choose the wrong vehicle, you might end up reaching your financial goals way later in life.
Or maybe not at all.
Or not at all, yeah.
It makes you think, huh?
It really does.
Are we on the right path?
Yeah, or are we walking when we could be flying?
Exactly.
Makes you wonder if you should ditch the car and hop on a plane, all right?
Right. Now, speaking of paths, the last question in this video takes us to the world of cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah. Crypto tap, 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 as Dr. Emmanuel calls it.
That's a good one.
I know, right? So the viewer wants to know about the risks involved.
Yeah, that's a big question these days.
It is.
It can be confusing for sure.
For sure. But Dr. Emmanuel says that cryptocurrency itself is a legitimate concept.
Okay.
He thinks it could even be the future of money.
Interesting.
But, and this is a big but,
Oh.
he warns that a lot of the platforms out there are fraudulent.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, he really emphasizes that people need to do their research before investing in any of this stuff.
So it's not all bad, but you got to be careful.
Exactly.
So what does he recommend people do?
Well, he says to investigate thoroughly before investing in anything,
Okay, that makes sense.
and to get expert opinions and really make sure they know what they're getting into.
Trust but verify. Right.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that Dr. Emmanuel himself stays away from crypto and forex trading.
Really? Why is that?
Well, he's pretty funny about it, actually.
Okay, how so?
He basically says that at his age, he can't afford to cry for 3 years if he loses all his money.
Uh-huh. That's fair enough.
Right. He'd rather play it safe.
So he's more risk averse?
Yeah, and he acknowledges that younger people might be more willing to take risks.
Yeah, they probably have more time to recover if things go south.
That's true, and he even tells this cautionary tale about his mentee who made and lost $400,000 in cryptocurrency.
Ouch. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, it really highlights how volatile that market can be.
For sure.
And Dr. Emmanuel makes this really thought-provoking point. He says, imagine if that $400,000 had been invested in real estate instead.
Oh, yeah, that would be a different story.
Right. He says it could have generated substantial passive income.
Wow, that's a powerful example of opportunity cost.
It really is.
You know, every financial decision we make closes off other potential paths.
Oh, exactly.
And sometimes those closed paths could have led to greater security or even more wealth.
It makes you wonder if sometimes playing it safe is actually the smarter move.
Yeah, it really challenges that idea that we always need to be taking big risks to get ahead.
It does, doesn't it?
So, what about a regular salary? Could that be a path to wealth?
That's an interesting question.
Dr. Manuel seems to think that relying solely on a salary might not be the most effective way to build significant wealth.
Yeah, he definitely emphasizes the importance of choosing the right vehicle, you know?
Right.
But maybe it depends on your individual circumstances and what you consider to be wealth.
Yeah, maybe for some people, financial freedom is more about living comfortably within their means and having the security to pursue their passions.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be about being a millionaire.
Right. Maybe it's about finding contentment and fulfillment in a life that's both financially sound and personally meaningful.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So maybe true wealth isn't just about the money.
Maybe it's something more.
Maybe it's about finding balance in all areas of our lives.
And making choices that align with our values.
And creating a life that feels both prosperous and fulfilling.
Exactly. Yeah, it's easy to think you need to be some entrepreneur or real estate mogul to be successful financially.
Yeah, for sure.
But maybe that's not the only way.
Right. Maybe for some people it's about living comfortably and being able to do what they love without being weighed down by debt.
Yeah, maybe wealth means different things to different people.
Absolutely.
What do you think about that?
I think it's so important because we often get caught up comparing ourselves to others and trying to achieve some definition of wealth that doesn't even really fit with what we want in life.
So how do we figure out what wealth really means for us?
Well, I think it starts by figuring out what truly matters to you.
Okay.
Is it financial security? Is it being able to pursue your passions? Is it giving back to your community? Or is it a mix of all those things?
Yeah.
Once you have a good sense of your values and priorities, then you can start making financial choices that support those goals.
That makes sense. You know, Dr. Emanuel talked a lot about discernment in this video.
He does, yeah.
And it seems like that applies to how we define success and wealth, too.
Definitely. It's about being aware of the messages we're getting from society and the media, and even from our own inner critic,
Right.
and then consciously choosing a path that aligns with who we truly are.
And don't forget about contentment.
Oh, that's huge.
Even people who achieve great financial success often realize that true happiness comes from things that money can't buy.
Right? Things like strong relationships, meaningful work, a sense of purpose.
And connection to something bigger than themselves.
Exactly. Those are the things that bring true joy and fulfillment.
Money can help with a sense of well-being,
For sure.
but it's not the only source of happiness.
Not at all.
So maybe the real treasure isn't hidden in some secret place, but it's inside us all along. In our values, our choices, and our commitment to living a life that's both fulfilling and financially sound.
I love that. That's a beautiful way to put it.
Thanks.
True wealth isn't just about money. It's also about our spiritual, emotional, and relational well-being.
It's about the whole picture.
It's about finding balance and creating a life that feels rich and meaningful on every level.
Well, this has been a really thought-provoking deep dive.
It has.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration of finance and spirituality.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope this has given you some food for thought as you continue on your own journey.
Absolutely. Remember, the path to true wealth is unique for each person. There's no one right way to do it.
It's a personal journey.
The key is to be informed and make thoughtful choices and create a life that reflects what you value and the kind of future you want to build.
That's all for this episode of The Deep Dive.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Keep exploring and keep seeking